What's up, YouTube? So, video journal number 4. This is the fourth one. And I was scrolling on social media today and I wanted the video to be about this, right? And so, there was a strength coach or a coach that posted like a slide on Instagram, where they give quotes and every time you slide, it's a new one. And he said things that I wish earlier as a coach that wouldn't have wasted my time or something. And like the second one was to not let or to let your personality come out earlier, right? And I do a good job of being like energetic and being goofy because that's who I was, right? When I was on teams of like the sport teams like basketball, other teams, right? As a kid growing up, I was always the goofy one, the one that bring energy to the team when there was none, right? So me transitioning into being a strength coach, it was pretty easy. But there's times where I catch myself like, oh, so and so wouldn't be doing this, or not in a bad way, just like, am I goofing off too much? And it's not goofing off too much, but I think back to like when I was a player, I wish coaches were more energetic, and that's what I got to when I got to college, right? It was like it wasn't no sergeant, it wasn't no this is what you're gonna do, you're gonna pay. It was more fun, it was more relaxed. But I think when you get older, you start to realize that not that there's consequences, but to get after it, right? Like at least some people get after it, right? But I knew there was expectations or standards to meet whenever I walked into a certain room. I knew this was what was going to happen today. If it was the weight room, I knew what the workout was, right? And I was aware that there was just some things I couldn't do, right? But I wanted to change that because like I said, I find myself catching, or I catch myself not thinking about certain aspects, right? Like at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, these are just humans, right? And it's not, I'm only 22, so I'm not that much older than these athletes. But there comes a time and a place where you should be doing that. And then for me, I'm like, I wish I want to be goofy as much as possible, right? Because I don't want to make the weight room, the place that I work out, a dreadful place, right? When I was growing up, whenever you heard like strength and conditioning, you knew it was going to be 1 in 4, right? Like you knew those next few months, those next months were going to be hell. And that's not what I want to think back to now the athletes, right? Like I don't want my athletes to be like, oh, here we go, Coach Aird again, or do I really want to work out, right? Because there's some days where it's long, and I understand because you used to be a student athlete, you have school, you have, families, you miss your family, you're missing events, you're missing friends, you're missing all this. And then it starts piling up on you, right? And then at the end of the day, you got to do strength and conditioning, right? So I try to make it a place where we can see eye to eye, not like keep it professional. But I don't know. I just like that slideshow. Let your personality come out earlier, and I think I've been doing a good job of it. And then also when I'm myself, then the athletes get to be like free. A lot of times they see strength coaches or something, and they tense up or eyebrows are up and all that. And I just want them to be relaxed, and not think about it too much. We're just here to work hard, and if we work hard, then we win. If we don't win, you're still human at the end of the day, and you're still my athlete. So I enjoy that, right? And then, right, like all I care about in training is that if they can execute the movement well, like my philosophy, and I guess it's not really a philosophy, right? But when I program, I like to program in movement patterns. So if we're doing horizontal pull, vertical pulls, horizontal pulls, things in that lines, right? And if they execute those wells and not that they're like talking in between or they're goofing off in between, but if they get after it during the workout and they're finishing with 10 minutes to go in the weight room, like I'm going to let it slide, because not that it's not important to be like, you need to do this, you need to do that. But it's just like, man, at the end of the day, they're just an athlete and they're humans, right? So I think back to always like let them enjoy themselves, right? Because they only get 4 years to do this, just like I did. And you don't want it to be like, oh, I remember when Coach Aird was always on us or something. I don't know. That's like my tangent. But like, I really don't care. I do care because if you need a spot, I guess you need, don't be dancing and stuff like that, right? Don't be horse playing, like fighting people on the floor or something, right? But for me, I'm like, man, we should be able to joke around in the weight room. We should be able to do this, stuff like that. And yeah, I just don't want it to make a dreadful place for my athletes. And that's just something that I've always overlooked, like something if I ever have my own weight room or you know, start going up the ranks, or I don't know, something like that. I wanted to make a place where it's the most exciting place on campus. I don't know, right? And then, like, I want them to keep coming back, right? Like, if I'm drill sergeant and I'm yelling at them, and then are they going to want to come back the next day? No, right? Because I've only seen them 3 times, 2 times a week, and if I yell at them, they're going to remember that for the rest of, like, not their season, but the next day, and I already forgot about it, right? So I'm not the yeller type. Like, I'm like the laid back, what did I do wrong? Like, if an athlete doesn't do something right, and I start to reflect and be like, oh, did I say it wrong? Did I not give the right cue, right? That's my take, right? Like, I'm never gonna be like, no, right, on you. I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, what did I do to not make you get it, right? And then, yeah, so I want them to be happy. I want them to be excited that we're lifting, right? Like, we have a nice gym for our school and for our type of school, and it's just a place where it's a safe haven, right? And then the thing that I've always enjoyed about it is you just come in and work hard, right? And my old coach, Coach Hodge, he used to always tell me that it's the only place where everyone's on the same level, like same playing field, right? Like, we can both put weight on the bar. It's just depending who's stronger, right? Every weight in there weighs the same. Everything weighs the same in there. It's a matter of you're going to pick up that weight and keep working out. And that's a quote that I've always took. So that was one of my things, my TED Talk. Don't want the place to be dreadful, and basically to let your personality come out. And for me, I'm the goofy, energetic type. I'm always going to make weird faces. I'm going to look at you weird, like, what are you doing? But I'm just that guy. I'm goofy, I'm funny, and that's how I portray my emotions, right? Just got to be funny. And then I think that's something that I need to be in the profession I am, right? Like, if it's strength and conditioning, it doesn't have to be serious, right? Like, there's some days it's going to be hard, but we can joke around through it. So, I don't know. I guess if that's not something that you partake in or something, I don't know. But that's what I like, and that's how I'm going to enjoy it. And then, right, so then I wanted to talk about my workout. My workout today consisted of 7 sets of 3, right? So I started off with, let me see. So I was supposed to do leg extensions and leg curls, right? The leg extensions, I don't have that type of machine at my house. So I did split squat isos, which I just held the split squat position for about 20 seconds each leg. Then the lying leg curl, I don't have any bands to the leg curl or the machine. So what I did was did hip bridges, right? You just do regular hip bridges to get knee flexion. And I did 3 sets of those, 12 reps. And then I got into the real nitty gritty of everything, and that was front squat. So to find your front squat number, if you don't know, is you get your back squat number, then you times 80% of that, and now you have a front squat max, right? My front squat max is 305. So we did 2 sets of 6 at 40%, 2 sets of 4 at 50%, and then 1 set of 60% at 2 reps. And then we started our 7 sets of 3. And that was all at 70%, which my number was 215, right? And then I think I'm going to show my first set right here, if it's playing in the background as I'm talking while I'm squatting down. And then I think I have another one, right? So I squatted. And then the whole reason why I wanted to take separate videos of my squat was because this is the reason why I love the high sets, low reps, is that when you're doing these, right, like I said, if you're doing 3 sets of 7, you're not going to be able to do the same way, the same speed on your first set and your last set. But if I told you to do 7 sets of 3, which I did, your first set is going to look the same or maybe a little different, but it's going to look familiar as your last set. And that's all you want in training, right? Like, why would I put 3 sets of 7 and my first set looks fast and then my third set looks slow? Why would you do that to yourself when you can make every set look the same and you're moving heavy weight because it's less reps and you got to go more weight, right? If I did the same weight as I did 3 sets of 7 as I did with 7 sets of 3, then you're getting nowhere, right? So 7 sets of 3 allows me to lift heavier while keeping I always tell my athletes, right? Like, because I've been explaining it. If I put you on a graph and I made you do 3 sets of 6, right? You're going to slowly start fatiguing because 3 sets of 6, after the 4th rep, you're going to be tired, right? But if I flipped it and did 6 sets of 3, now you're going to stay the same because you're going to go 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, boom, a minute rest in between. So I took a video of the first set and then the middle set, like the fourth or third set. Then I took a video of my last set, right? And then after 7 sets of 3, a front squat, I did 2 singles, right? Trying to go as heavy as I could. And the first single, I think I did 235, which is pretty good. And then my last single, I did 255. Didn't know. I wanted to use a belt, but I don't really have one on me. So I did 235 for 1, 255. So 9 sets in total. 2 of the sets of 7, and then 2 sets of 1. Then after I did deadlift, I think I'll show the first one. I did 6 sets of 2 or 5 sets of 2 of deadlifts, right? High sets, low reps, baby. And then I took a video of that first one. Then I put 305 on the bar because that's the most weight in my home gym. Put 305 and try to move it as fast as possible. And that was pretty good. And then after, I did Bulgarian split squats, 3 sets of 8 each leg, which fired up my quads after deadlifts and front squat. And then after, whatever I do in the beginning of the workout, I do at the end, which I did leg extensions. Don't have that machine. So I did the isos. And man, this last part hurt. It was leg extensions, superset it was split squat, and I put the dumbbells on my shoulder to like tell me I'm not really holding them, but man, my body knew I was holding them. So then I did split squat, 3 sets of 10 each, and split squat isos to end the workout, 20 seconds each leg 3 times, and man, that was tiring. And then one thing that I did before I showered, I read a couple pages from Mastery, and it talked about basically finding your mentor, right? And I'm going to read a quote real quick, and it said, "Sometimes part of what a mentor shows us is something we will want to avoid or actively rebel against. You might initially want to maintain a little more emotional distance than normally recommended." And then, because I've always said this in my own life, is that to take the good and bad from people from all around you. And I think I've said that in the last videos, but like if you have a mentor right now, or you're thinking of someone that like, oh yeah, he's my mentor, constantly try to be thinking like, what are you going to take from him, and what are you going to not take from him throughout your future, like your future jobs, your future experiences, or to your next one. Like, what are things when you have your own apprentice, are you going to teach them and be like, oh, I'm not teaching them that, or I'm never going to bring that up, right? Because a mentor can actually help you in the lines of making you get to your goals faster, right? Because you don't want to make the same mistakes as your mentor. So I thought that was pretty good from Mastery, to basically take good and bad things from your mentor. And once you can realize those, then you're like, okay, now I could be not my own mentor, but I'm getting steps ahead. So that's basically all that I wanted to say for my long form content of video journaling. That's enough for me talking. But yeah, basically to let your personality come out in whatever you do, your job, your at home, right? Because as a coach, I don't want to put a mask on and being like, okay, I'm a coach today. Like, no, I'm Zachary Aird. This is me. This is who I am, and this is how I'm going to coach. And second, my hard workout killed my legs. And then third, for your mentor to find the good and bad, right? So that's it, YouTube. Have a good night. Let's go.